Hello, 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 hello. I want to scream it, but it's 6 a.m. and the house is sleeping. Hello, my powerful, my beautiful, my exquisite everyday women of the world. Welcome to another amazing episode of the Startup Stories podcast, where the ambitious everyday woman is heard, held, and served in life and business. I'm your host, the everydayest of them all, Miss Mia Frankel of Powerful Inc., the everyday woman's coach for living a peaceful and productive life. Life, not just business, your whole life matched together. You'll hear relatable stories to keep you sane, grounded, and growing as you expand yourself and deliver your purpose to the world. The no fluff, authentic conversations, the insights and tips will normalize your journey and kick your butt into action. We're not here to just consume. We are here to take action and be empowered and activate our identity. And oh my goodness, are you going to get a rocket fueled experience in that today with the incredible, the genuine, the lived it so hard that she can now share the wisdom of her experience and look back on like the duality. So it's Brit Nicole today, and she's joining me at the early hour for her of 8 a.m. So bless her soul, and thank you for honoring my podcast recording time, Brit, and meeting me where I'm at. There's so much to say about this beautiful woman, you guys. So I'm just going to take a breath to ground in because, like, I'm feeling strong emotions already. I don't know.
You're making me cry, and this is just the intro.
I
Who
haven't said
does
it
this?
yet.
Who does this?
He does.
Like, oh my gosh.
Hey, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. This woman, she's anchored in to her identity in Christ now. Now. But what she went through to get there is so much and was so away from her true self. So if you're struggling in life, I'm going to put it to you like this. You got to take a look at yourself, girl. What are you doing to yourself to stay in that space? And what are you not allowing to come into your heart and spirit? And where are you blocking God or whatever other version of spirituality that you follow? But I mean, it all leads back to him. Brit had her life on paper together and things looked good. But what she was doing behind the scenes was trying to prove herself for others and trying to do what other people wanted or expected. And if you live like that, it tears you apart rather than puts you together. And she had to go through some very hard yet necessary for her experiences and exposures to break free from that. She's done this incredible little mini series on her Instagram, part 1 through like almost 20, but they're 2-ish minutes each at most of her story. And you can listen to her in her incredible disco-esque recording studio where her sweet little daughter is sleeping or resting in her room being homesick today. And watch them. I mean, the background alone is worth checking out, but the story is what will captivate you. So she's gone through her own reckoning and her own refining. I'm in a refining now, and it sucks. I'm not going to lie about it, but mine doesn't suck as much as somebody else's. So we're not comparing. The point is, the refining sucks, but it's necessary. And what Britt started to do was lean into it rather than resist and continue to try and do it on her own. When you surrender that over, the softness comes, and then the strength builds, and then the real you comes out. And now she's living in this much better, more God led, more true to herself space than ever before, which becomes the new foundation from which to carry forward and see what is really possible versus what did occur already. So, we're going to go deep into her identity journey and the lessons that she's learned, and looking back at yourself now, Brit, what you know to be true versus what you know was out of alignment. And it's such an overused word, but maybe on purpose, because alignment to the Lord is alignment to yourself, is alignment to having a good life. And another thing that I felt when I was considering you and kind of like overstimulated with how to introduce you is also that success in its grand holistic sense doesn't mean that life is perfect, but it means that you can better show up for the crap that happens because you can hold yourself together, really knowing who you are and navigate these things. And that's something I'm going through now, and the change is indescribable. It's full on spiritual. And when it transpires or crosses into like the two-dimensional world, power really starts to grow, positive, healthy power. So this is Brit Nicole coming to join us today from her home, from her heart, and to share her wisdom and to speak into you so that whatever you're going through, you stay encouraged and you find the way forward. You
Mm.
find the truth about yourself.
It's hard to get to sometimes for some people.
It can be, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm letting go of why. Why is it hard? It doesn't matter. Look for it.
Mm.
Keep looking for it.
Eventually it'll show up. Eventually
Eventually.
you'll know why. And that was one of the hardest things for me to, I don't really want to say the word accept, but that's the word that comes to mind is when I was going through it. People will always tell you like, well, there's a reason, or,
Mhm.
like, what was, you'll find out soon why this is happening and it'll be good. And I'm like, when you're in the middle of it, you're just like,
Yeah.
shut your mouth. Like, Like, I don't know if you've ever seen Wedding Crashers, but the whole shut your mouth when you're talking to me. Like, uh-uh, no. There, what are you?
Yeah.
There's no way that you're going to try and sprinkle joy over the
Yes.
situation that I'm going through. Like, let me be miserable because it's a miserable time. And don't try to come in here and save me with your happy-go-lucky speeches. Like,
Yes.
that's not what is going to bring me out of this funk. But 3 years out of the trauma, looking
Mhm.
back, the most recent trauma, looking back, I'm like, okay, if if my business would not have gone up in flames the way that it did,
Mhm.
if I would not have lost all of that money that I made, if I would not have lost my whole entire team, all of my staff, the employees, if I would not have fallen off my high horse the way that I did,
Mhm.
there would not have been room for God to give me what I have now because I still would have been so focused on
Mhm.
making the money, of being on that high horse, of living through my ego
Yeah.
versus living in my truth of where he's called me to be. There was no other way to get my attention except for shaking me up. And the way to shake me up is to definitely take things fully away to where my focus can't be to build it anymore.
It is very confronting to go through something like that.
Yeah.
And it does shake your core. And it is so important, you guys, what Britt said. She's describing like this I don't know, there's this other trendy term of like toxic positivity or platitudes, which I still don't entirely, it reminds me of platypus. Still don't really know platitudes, but I guess like glazing over. And as you were saying that, I'm picturing like an extreme example of a patient arriving at an emergency room. Well, they're not like being touched like a little kitten. They're being assessed aggressively to heal and, you know, triage whatever the injury is. And there is an element when we're in a deep pain to make space for that, right? And coaching can kind of be like, oh, just, you know, meditate through it, whatever. But there's absolutely a need to sit in that pain so that you can soften and surrender to it and then let it fall away. And that's a deeper type of healing, right? It's a true amputation of what's not serving. So, how did you navigate that? And the listeners are probably like, whoa, what actually
What?
happened?
Yeah. No, you actually made a really good analysis of being in the hospital, like being in triage. If you would not have gone to the hospital and you went to the convenience store looking for help, would you have gotten it?
Mhm.
No. You're literally surrounding yourself with people who don't know how to navigate or handle such a thing. They don't know what to look for. They don't know the right medicine to give you. They don't know the right
Mhm.
nothing. They are basically just going off of the cuff of what they think you should do. And a lot of the times, what other people think you should do is not what your calling from God is. So
Mhm.
that can be, I feel like that can be a pretty dangerous spot to set yourself in of just being aware of who you're allowing to speak into you during those times.
Yeah.
So, so for your listeners, where do I even start? Back in back in the early 2000s, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I really this old?
We don't look it, so.
I live in Texas. I live in a part of Texas where if you're not married by 18, like a what are you doing with your life type
Mm,
thing. And I was definitely young. My frontal cortex was definitely not developed at this point. I really don't think that thing got fully developed until my 30s, to be honest with you, but that's a story for another time. Um, I ended up marrying this guy that I knew I wasn't supposed to be married to. He was definitely a rebound, and my thought process behind it was I can fix him.
mm,
Be fine. Like everybody changes type thing. Even during the dating process, I felt I'm such a creative soul, and I can connect very well to like my spiritual side. And I used to do like a lot of prophetic painting for myself. And
mm,
when I got into this relationship, a lot of that stuff started, my colorful world started going black and white, is the best way to describe it. And my parents even took me to the side and they were like, listen, this isn't good for you. He's showing signs of being mentally and emotionally abusive, which normally always turns into physical abuse. And again, being young, I'm in my early 20s. I'm like, guys, it's fine. Like, first, I was embarrassed to even admit anything, any wrongdoing type
mm,
thing. And second, I was like, It's fine. I could change him. It's fine. It'd be okay." I don't know why I held on to that the way that I did, but I did. Maybe it was to prove a point of I can be right sometimes. I don't
mm,
know. I'm not quite sure. But I went through with it. And I even remember on the wedding day, like my mom looked me dead square in the eyes and she's like, "You can leave." And it was just such guilt that took over. Like, I can't leave though. Like, literally everyone is here. You guys spent so much money on this thing. I can't do that. Um, went through the process and it ended up being bad, bad enough to where it actually started to get physical. And I don't know what your podcast is set for or the words that I can use without you getting flagged. I don't know.
Adult content, yeah.
But I mean, there was even a night where he was cleaning his, I'm gonna say pew pew because I
Okay.
don't know what all you're streaming on.
Yeah, sure.
But it, he looked me dead in the eyes. He goes, "How funny would this be if this just accidentally went off?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, is this really the life that I'm wanting to live?" I wasn't allowed to have a job. I couldn't have money. I had to be
Mhm.
solely dependent on him. The church
Mhm.
that we went to, oh man, I loved that church that I went to before
Mhm.
him. Like that was where I found the Holy Spirit. I grew up in a Baptist church, didn't really know what the Holy Spirit was. Started going to this one and it changed my life. And had to move churches because the ex-boyfriend was playing up on the worship stage and he assumed that all of my focus and everything was going straight to this ex-boyfriend
Mhm.
and wasn't even allowed to go into the sanctuary. We had to sit in the cafeteria to watch it stream on TV and then leave afterwards because heaven forbid I know someone.
Yeah.
So, like, everything was my identity was stripped away from me. I wasn't allowed to even have friends or family over at the house. Oddly enough, I wasn't even allowed to go into the garage. Like, it was deadbolt. Looking back now as an adult, I'm like, what?
Mhm.
What was going on in that house that I
Yeah.
purposefully shielded myself from? What is going on? But anyways, one night, I'm an old lady. I love to be in bed by like 9:30. I love to be asleep by 10. That is
Mhm.
how I have always been, even as a teenager.
Mhm.
And I remember one night we ate dinner at 10 and he wanted me to do dishes immediately after. And I'm like, I don't really want to. That's something I can take care of tomorrow. That wasn't fine with him. I, I went to the room and I shut the door, which none of the doors had locks on them. I just wanted time to myself
Mhm.
from the fighting, and he came in there and he actually like held me up against the wall and started choking me. And he was like, "Well, where is your God now?" And I'm like, "Oh, really, Brittany? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
This is not the life that I imagined for myself. Like, what am I doing?" So the next day, when he went off to work, I just grabbed a few clothes and I grabbed my husky dog and I left. My parents, thankfully, were in a place to be able to cover the expenses of my living arrangements since I didn't have money or anything. And I made a promise to myself, which is not a, hey, if you're the type of person that's like, I'm never going to allow blah, 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 don't make
Right.
promises like that to yourself.
Right.
Okay. But I did that. I was like, I'm never going to allow someone to take away like that the way that he did.
Mhm.
Financially, emotionally, my identity,
Yeah.
never going to allow that again. As my mom says, never say never, right?
Mhm.
So um, I I remember thinking I started at this one certain job and I actually got fired for it very, very quickly because I had the type of mindset going in of, oh my gosh, if I'm going to be putting in these hours for someone else,
Mhm.
why can I not put in these same exact hours for me to build the type of life that I want to build? Hmm. So I started dabbling in photography and I literally spent all of the working hours on my own stuff and I got canned for it for good reason, right? And so when I got canned, I that gave me all of my time and my focus of like, okay, I can really dive into this. I don't have to go to school. I can be self-taught. And so I went up to the bookstore and I started reading all the finance books. I know that a lot of people are probably It's so triggering of the word Trump, which I don't know why. But one book specifically that completely changed my life of the outlook I have of owning a business and finances was a book written by Trump. It was called
Mhm.
The Midas Touch.
Mhm.
And oh my gosh, so incredible to learn money aspects as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
But anyways, did all the self-taught stuff, but then I had the outside world and people in my head saying, you can't make money from photography. You need to go get a job. You
Yeah.
can't do blah, blah, blah. And I started to believe it. So,
Mhm.
listening to all the entrepreneur gurus, they all tell you you need to find the problem and make a solution.
Yeah.
That's how you do things in this world. If that's how you want to live the American dream, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. Yeah.
Right.
So in the town that I'm in the city that I'm in, back then in the early 2000s, we didn't have digital media yet. So that
Mhm.
wasn't a thing. And there were no digital billboards, nothing, not even like menu items in restaurants yet.
Okay.
I was like, ooh, okay, I can I can do something with that, right?
Mhm.
So I literally randomly the type of person that I am, I squirreled my way onto Southwest and I booked flights out to New York and I
Mhm.
walked into these places asking for meetings of these business owners of
Mhm.
how are you doing this? What what do you have to teach me while I'm here? Even though I didn't make an appointment with you, like
Right.
literally just randomly flew here to see what I could get. And then I came back home and my dad co-signed a loan for me. And I got all of these digital TVs and went and hustled my way into the locations, the mall, all these places. And I started building a digital media business.
Okay.
But I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I was proving to myself, I was proving to my ex, I was
Mhm.
proving to my family that I can do things in this life, you know?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I ended up waking up like Mondays. I hated Mondays. I hated what I was doing. Like, even though I had a sales team, because I quickly realized because of my age and because I'm female, I wasn't getting taken seriously by a lot of the people that I was having meetings with. And so I ended up hiring males as sales reps to go in and finish the job.
Mhm.
I did very well. But I quickly realized I can't put this focus and time in building in something that I don't really like. I did
Mhm.
it just to do it. So I sold it in my early 20s. I built and sold my very first business, and it went back to God was really doing a work on my identity because whenever you get your identity stripped away from you, you have to really put in effort to find out who you are to your core, not who somebody wants you to be, not who your parents say or your friends or your spouse or whomever. Who does Brittany want to be? And how can I walk in that identity that aligns with what I'm doing? And during that course, I vividly remember God telling me like, just trust me. Like I gave you these creative tools.
Mhm.
Just do it. So I did. I picked up a camera, and within my first 4 months, I generated $20,000. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can make money as a photographer.
Yeah.
I can make money as a creative and seeing beauty in things that most people don't see. So I just did it. I dove in. I just freaking did it. And I became really good at it.
Yeah.
And I built an incredible wedding business out of it. I was the person where my face was everywhere. I was put in the Knott's Hall of Fame as top
Mhm.
2% of best photographers in the US. I won all these awards. I did all of the good things, right? All the American dream, I did it all.
And how
Uh,
did that feel the second time around?
that, so that before the fall was, I was living my best life. It was
Mhm.
incredible. It was insane. It was during the time that I also met my husband.
Mhm.
I wrote, I don't know if anybody remembers Zanga, but it was like a really, really old online blog
Okay.
thing, like a little bit before MySpace.
Okay.
That's like dating. It's a little bit before or like in the time of MySpace, but it was like the first online blogging. And I blogged. I was reading what was it? What is it? Circle. It has a circle and it's talks about prayer. Anyways, it basically talks about how like if our prayers and dreams aren't big to where
Mm.
we cannot handle them, like it's offensive to God, saying I don't really trust you in this. And so the circle maker, I believe is what it's called. Anyways, so like okay, let's just try this out. So I started journaling my prayers and I got very, very specific. One of the prayers said, my husband that I'm going to have is going to be tall, dark hair, blue eyes, and he is going to love the Lord and he's going to love country music.
Yeah.
He's going to listen to Christian music, all
Yeah.
these things. And I got so specific to a black Chevy truck.
Yeah.
The day that I met him, this black Chevy truck pulled right up next to me, and he comes out looking nice, super tall, dark hair, blue
Dress
eyes.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like it was everything that I dreamt of. And so I was like, wow, this came true. Well, I'm gonna do the same thing, but business aspect side. And
Hmm.
that's what I did. I wanted to do weddings. I wanted to be a destination photographer, so I built that out, and it was incredible. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start scaling this thing. And so I put a different branch underneath my photography branch for a Texas destination element. And I hired other photographers strategically that were placed throughout the US. And it was their job for the client journey. They did the consultations, they did the shooting, and I did train them on the shooting that I wanted to do because it needed to keep with the brand. And um, And I did the delivery of the images, I did the editing, I did all of the legal work. And one second, Kate just
Yeah.
got a hey sister. Um, don't yeah, go ahead and pause it one more time and I'll tell her. And
This is
so
what, yeah.
their job was to, you know, do the client journey, do the shooting, and I did the editing and delivery and all the legal aspect work of things. One thing that I wish I would have done differently was learn how to hire instead of just
Mhm.
hiring the first people that seem excited to work with me and to see the vision and stuff. But um, during having employees, this one particular employee, about a year into it, I was too scared to fire her
Right.
because I saw little Brittany in her. I saw the potential that she could be, and it it got to where like, okay, Brittany, if I don't have the guts to fire her, you got to phase her out at some point. Like this is not good. And she did put in her notice, which was good. But when she left, she ended up taking back then, which was 16 years worth of intellectual property that I created, I built, and I scaled on top of what we could physically see online and not behind the scenes of 66 federally copyrighted infringements. So I sent two cease and desists.
Yeah.
Those did not, she didn't give a crap. So in order to stop the bleeding, I had to federally sue her
Mhm.
because they were copyright. Anything copyright is a federal offense in the United States. And so in order to afford that, I had to let go of all of my staff. I had to let go of everything. And when you have scaled something and it brings it down to a single person, that's disaster waiting to happen.
Mhm.
That's burnout on your end. That is like you just can't do it all by yourself. And I wasn't expecting the backfire of what I got. I was expecting this to be a wham bam done. Like obviously it is so clear the damage that was done. Let's just
Mhm.
get this in and over with. But apparently, the federal courts love to just make it go on forever. And so during that time, it stripped me away from who I was. I lost my identity because, again, I wrapped myself
Mm.
so hard into my accolades,
Yeah.
my awards, the money I was making, where my face was, all of the things. Like I made that my identity, and
Mhm.
it felt good. It did. It felt amazing to be noticed and seen because as a kid, I didn't get that. I wasn't the kid that was good in sports. I wasn't the kid that was good at school. Like I just
Yeah.
that wasn't me. And um
This gave you a
like
sense of accomplishment. It gave
oh
you a sense of
100%.
value of like
Yes. Yeah.
of
And
being
kind of what we
noticed.
were yeah, and kind of what we were talking about before, you pressed record is that like I went through a period of time where a family member of mine like they hit their goals. Do you hear my dog? They hit their career goals really early on by winning a contest.
Mhm.
And she's globally known now. And my whole family, everyone there was supporting. Like she had a purpose and she did well with it.
Yeah.
That when that stripped me down, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know who I am without all of this stuff
Mm.
because I spent so long chasing it because I wanted to be seen like that. Ooh, it was rough. So,
Let's sit
yeah.
there for a sec. Let's sit there for a sec because that's such a big part of my story. And ladies, take a breath and take the load off, right? We don't need to prove ourselves.
Mm.
God loves you and looks at you and wouldn't change a thing, not a thing. And if you can lean into that, because I too strive and push and prove and look at me and look what I can do and I can help, I can help, I can help, I can save, I can change. That's why I'm a coach, but I'm trying to heal myself by forcing healing onto others. That has flipped and grown into a completely different identity now. But what we have to go through to get there, and here's where Britt and I really want to help soften whatever you're feeling right now. And take a breath to be who you are and let her shine, let her rise, let her lead. It can't come from the mind. It can't even come from the heart because the heart is so emotional and full of other kinds of noise and desires. Not bad, but distracting. But when you come from spirit, it's a completely different, like, it's, it feels almost effortless, you
Mm.
know, and it feels truly like it's moving through you. And as an everyday woman doing all these things, podcasting is a way to really touch on that part of us of not having to prove our value, our worth, but to find, I'm really hung up on identity right now, but it's the whole piece because from there, other things flow. So keep us going from that point, Britt, where it really calved off and again stripped back. Who are you? Who are you underneath it all?
It took me 3 years to get there because for 3 years, I couldn't even get out of bed. I wasn't there. My body was definitely stuck in fight or flight. And well, I should say fight because I was really good at just pushing through being angry
Yeah.
at things. I pushed through being angry with the X during building that digital media and also some parts of the photography. I was angry, so I was like, I had something to prove.
Right.
And once I started seeking healing, and then I no longer became angry, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I was like, oh, well, now I'm actually faced with accepting who I am. to my core without rejecting myself because I'm no longer going to be chasing the accolades anymore. And it really did. It took me such a long time to realize that I no longer can live in this victim mentality
Mhm.
of I can't just, well, this happened to me. Well, yeah, it did. But going back to the beginning, things happening for you instead of to you, like, don't you dare tell me that. But looking back now, I have a dog, guys. He's scratching himself.
Zoom cancels all that noise out.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
My
not
other
know.
friend, her dog barks like right beside her. I don't hear it. Zoom's
Okay.
got this crazy thing. Yeah,
Well,
it's
awesome. Okay.
mm,
Well, that's good to know.
mhm,
But okay, so I started diving into therapy. I went to a therapist, was getting inner healing work done, and again, chasing after who is Brittany all
mhm,
over again. And I have the way that my relationship works with God, the way that I see things is like a visual thing. Like I see it in my head, and I remember one day I was standing on a stage, and there's like all of these women out in front of me. I can't see their faces. Ooh, gonna get emotional, but I can feel how heavy their hearts are.
right.
And as I start talking, I could literally see chains just falling off of these women.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, so I have a purpose of speaking life into other people to help them overcome whatever darkness they feel entrapped in, to step into their calling while doing it. And I was like, God, I don't want to start over though. Like, I'm old, I'm tired. Like, I don't have the energy. I just found energy to wake up for my kids to be a mom. I don't have the energy for this anymore. And he's like, just do it. So I did everything that I could to bring photography back.
Okay.
No matter what I tried, it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And that's really hard as an identity person
Mhm.
of the thing that I once had. No matter what I try, even if I were to lower my prices or what have you, I could not get people through the door. People were canceling on me left and right for consultations, which never, ever in my life had happened. Ever. Like, I'm a sought after photographer. What is going on? You know? And it was being phased out to
Yeah.
make room for this. And God, God definitely was like, let's just try this out. So, okay, I opened up the Unstoppable SheEO,
Yeah.
and the very first thing to do, everybody was telling me, Brittany, you need to do courses, you need to do this.
Mhm.
So I tried it, and they failed because it's not what I wanted to do with
Mhm.
that's not what I wanted to do with anything. So once I stopped listening to other people and went back to, okay, what is the core of this? Why am I doing this? I put on the Unstoppable SheEO Summit in my city in January, and it sold out. And that was that was very humbling.
Right.
I spent days in that high, bawling my face off of he actually cares. You know? He actually cares about these desires that I have in my heart
Yeah.
and the desires of other people. He cares about these things. And so I saw it come to life, and I'm more now narrowing down to be more specific of people that I help. But um, now I have the Unstoppable SheEO community.
Yeah.
It I call it the Unstoppable SheEO method, and it is geared towards women who specifically may have like ADHD squirrel brain type or trauma brain to where you cannot think clearly.
Yeah.
You're so like no matter what you do, you just keep hitting that ceiling in your head and you can't let it go until healing happens.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we go through what you do, like the coaching, the we do like a 90-day sprint of these are the things that you need to do. Let's heal the body first and dive into that, and then we go into the business building blocks of it. And so that's where I'm at now.
And how do you relate to yourself in God's vision and plans for you?
It's still a struggle for me. Um, just yesterday, actually, just the day before, I didn't want to function, honestly. I spent the whole time crying my face off because I was so stuck on I'm still digging myself out of the
Mhm.
financial hole of what the federal lawsuit took.
Right.
3 years later,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And it has been hard for me to fully release trust that if he built my photography business to where it was at, he can build this business. But I'm still working through the whole, well, it got taken away from me and you allowed it.
Mhm.
Like, why should I put all my time and effort into this
Okay.
if it could possibly be taken away? You know? And
Very
so yesterday I was
vulnerable.
listening to this. Yeah, yesterday I was listening to this one podcast. And oh man, it brought me back down hard. She she made a statement saying, it's just all about Jesus. Like it's not about looking fancy or all of the pretty things that you could do.
Yeah.
It is literally about speaking life and being the hands and feet to other people. And I was like, dadgum you. Like, how dare you put me in my place like that? Let me be angry because I thrive off of anger. Let me be angry. But that was a punch to the gut hearing that yesterday of like the whole point
Yeah.
is Jesus. The whole point of him coming down for us to have a relationship with God, it was Jesus. It, oh man, it it sucker punched me good.
It's such a freeing spiritual decision to make to get to switch your identity from who am I to who does God want to use me for or what.
And it's hard too
It's
sometimes.
very hard because it's like this constant double personality, and which one is the true one?
Mm,
Because someone would listen to your story and say, oh, she did 20 grand in a month with photography, that must be the thing, that must be the blessing received. I think it just goes to show that you can hustle and make money because that's what money is. It's a harvest, I guess. and and so it's possible, but it can be done in counterfeit is the lesson.
mm,
It can be done in counterfeit. And I'll pay props to my coach, Katrina Ruth, who speaks a lot around counterfeit identity and counterfeit results when they're not in line with the Lord.
mm,
The results that are in line with the Lord, what was Jesus? Barefoot, you know, unshaven, like humbly dressed, right? And how do we accept our mission in humble stature, humble posture? Not to say that it will stay humble, because Jesus always had everything provided for him everywhere, and then was able to turn that into more provision for others. But yes, if he is the point and if God is the point, it very confrontingly strips away everything else. And Like I'm kind of getting my own more clarity out of this too, because doors are still closed, stone walled closed, locked up tight, and I'm still like pounding on them, wondering, wanting to get behind. But if I can let go of those parts of me and really focus on being a honest and kind and non-judgmental person, and kind of showing up in that and just wanting to soften women to themselves and to each other, it allows for a very different experience. And then it's not about doing it to get something, right? That was a big part of do it to get something out of it because it's going to mean something about me. It didn't. Now, and this is the irony, when we're in something that feels so uncomfortable and unsure, it's usually the thing because it's not what we would necessarily have chosen. I think podcasting is becoming that. Podcasting is was just meant to be good extra marketing, but it's grown into its own whole life. And I'm like, oh, is this supposed to be the thing? And I'm like, well, let's keep going and see, right? But detaching from any outcome or expectation and then getting freedom of identity as a result. And then we can just show up to be that person versus to get an outcome. And I love that. And you guys, like, go and follow Brit because she's got the Unstoppable SheEO podcast, the event, the movement. And behind all that is her heart, her spirit that we've like, oh my God, unbelievably witnessed today. And I'm honored and humbled that you shared so much of yourself with us in that way. We didn't even talk about what your business is or like, it's like, here's this woman's heart on the table. But I want you to brag about yourself a little bit now in the or how about this? What would God say about you now and what
Oh,
he's got you
why?
doing?
Why you do this?
He told me to.
Stop it. Because again, I was angry. Stop it. Well, yeah, gummy Mia. You'd probably say that I am capable of helping people where they're at in life to transition into the goals and the legacy that they want to create, and that I am smart enough to see it through, that I don't have to look to hire other people because I am fully capable of doing it. And that I just have to trust the process more instead of trying to force the outcome that I want to happen a lot sooner than what it needs to. Because I have to step into who this Brittany is now and fully let go of the old Brittany because she no longer can serve me.
And that he loves you and he's proud of you anyway.
Uh, mm. I'm telling you, like I hope that this speaks to you as well where you're at, but kind of reflecting on if I had not have gone through that federal lawsuit where it literally touched my family too. Like we had to move our kids out of private school into public school. It was a hard thing for us to go through. And the guilt that I felt of carrying that, like I'm the reason that my family is feeling this. But if that would not have happened, it would not have opened the door for the true thing in my heart that I had been desiring for a long time. I just couldn't put it into words exactly what it was. I was making something else happen in life that was that was false, that was fake. And yesterday my son came home pretty disappointed that he didn't make um he applied for something within school and an ambassadorship, and he didn't get it. And we had a whole talk of, I know that that's disappointing because you tried really hard and you did everything right. You you did good and you're a good person, you're a good kid.
Mhm.
Sometimes what we don't see, God telling us no to something and it doesn't work out, and we want to feel all of those things of like, there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong with the process, there's nothing wrong with you as to why you didn't get that. But what you may not see right now is what he is doing is he is building a whole new other room that is more aligned with who you are as a person, all of your wants, desires, and needs, so that whenever you can say yes to this, that thing that you that said no to earlier, that would have inflicted on that to where you probably couldn't say yes to this new thing. You had to stay in that other spot. And so I don't know if that may speak to you, but your no's right now are just aligning you for the best yes that you have literally been waiting for. If those doors would have opened,
That's right.
your focus would have been on those instead of what actually is coming for you.
I I don't want to stop talking to you. First of all, if you can give me just a few more minutes. I have a very mundane, silly little example of that similar thing. Um, my daughter's started grade two, and her best friend and that mom were like, let's put the kids on the bus this year because we have this whole great adventure race to get out to the school and get to our respective jobs. And it's been chaos and it's been tardy and stressful for both of us. So we teamed up and agreed that we would sign our kids up for the same bus. I signed up for the wrong bus. I signed
Oh,
up for a different bus. Still goes to the same school, but there's two routes and they leave at different times. Her daughter is on the route that we were supposed to be on, and that bus is full by the time it comes to pick up her daughter. And so she hasn't been on the bus yet. It's like day 4 or 5 of school starting. Our bus was late because of road paving, but otherwise has been fine. And I advocated, this started in April and it's now September. And I was advocating and emailing the bus place and like, what's going on? And I thought this and that. And here's, I'm a bylaw officer in the daytime. So I collect evidence and create timelines and documents of how everything plays out. Here's all my evidence. But here's a very mundane example of God's like, you got put on the wrong bus because there'd be no bus because that bus is full because they made a mistake. Even though I was praying and asking for somebody to fall off the list so we could get bumped up the wait list. And now I'm hoping instead that my daughter's best friend can come join us on this bus and get dropped off here in the morning and I'll take them. But it's like, I was so sad that they weren't going to ride the bus together, that all these things. And yet it all worked out the way that he wanted it to. And we'll see where it goes from here. But it's exactly letting go of our best intention and letting him. And that I think is where blind faith comes from. Blind faith. You have to be so willing, like Abraham on the mountain, whoosh, the knife, right? Indescribably willing. And also confession and relatable. I've made a huge financial mistake too, and my family's feeling it too. And that stripping away is hopefully going to lead to more giftings of a different kind. And I'm being humbled in it. And I thought I could get away without it, consequences. But now I embrace those consequences and I welcome them into my heart and spirit because there's no other way to really heal and move forward as a changed person.
that's
Brit,
heavy. That was good.
you were exquisite. the work that you're doing now is phenomenal. I'm super pumped to see the life and activity and community around you. I think the listeners would benefit greatly from coming to follow you. It's Brit Nicole with periods in between all over the internets, all over the show notes. You've touched my heart and soul very deeply, and I hope that we continue to stay connected because I'm not really a one and done. And it was just such a big, beautiful conversation. I just can't thank you enough.
I thank you for allowing me to be here.
It's my honor.